What's going on, guys? All right, so I don't think I ever made a video for this, but there was a bunch of stuff. I went to Goodwill one day and I found a whole bunch of ham radio stuff. I didn't even buy most of it actually, but basically, what I found was a bunch of stuff. Now, I'm not a fan of end-fed antennas because they're compromised, but I don't know what this is. Maple Leaf QSO King antenna, 1 through 54 megahertz, 1.5 kW PEP, proudly made in the USA by Bruce W. Beckett, NU0R, Maple Leaf Studio. This is just something some guy made. I haven't opened it up. I haven't looked. But it was $6 at Goodwill. There was no wire with it. This was the coolest thing I found here. $6.49, 50 feet of coax from the overpriced ABR Industries. This is the stuff that Ham Radio Outlet sells. It's very overpriced for what it is. It's the conveniently made up for lids that can't do their own stuff. But then I found some other stuff, and here's a, you can pull it out of here without making a mess out of it. The slinky antenna, okay? I know guys have seen that before, but it's got a name on it. It says Cliff Dweller. This was $5.49. And it's also pretty homemade. I've looked all these up, and these people were all selling these things for like over $100. Somebody paid $100 for this, I guess. I don't know. It looks like it's got like liquid tape on it. So the problem with the slinky is that it's made out of steel, so you can't really solder directly to it. But anyway, this thing's actually got dirt in the coax. But I just figured it was like, well, you know, why not? But yeah, no, I'm not an end-fed fan. I don't like them. So anyway, in my Go box, if you guys have watched the channel for any amount of time, I use a screwdriver antenna. That's what I use. If I'm not using a big giant loop, I'm using a screwdriver antenna. So we have here the super antenna, MP1C. Oh my god! And literally, you just there's a little ruler guide. I prefer the one that has this, not the titanium whip. Also, if you're going to operate on other bands like 2 meters, 6 meters, 220, 440, you can use this whip antenna and you just, use it by itself. But, I mean, basically this antenna here, when it's fully assembled, it's just these two sections. And then I've got another suitcase like this with a second one of these that's like the full-fledged, like $500, $600, $700 kit that I found somebody selling for, I don't remember what I paid for it. It was pretty good deal. But, this, you just put it on a magnet mount, and you get your counterpoise. If you're on, like, the really, really low bands, you can get away without it. And so this one here will cover 40 through 6 meters or something like that. So, and in my opinion, this is way quicker, easier, and better than using some end-fed antenna with some 9-to-1, 49-to-1 balun, whatever. You're losing all your power in that thing. This is a tuned resonant antenna. Once you start tuning this here, it's resonant. Okay, if you take an antenna, God damn. If you take an antenna that is not resonant, the SWR starts at the antenna and goes all the way down the coax to whatever tuner you're using. So no matter what the tuner does, your entire antenna is a giant SWR. Okay? Unless your tuner is at the base of the antenna, your losses are huge. So an end fed uses this balun down here to present the mismatched non-resonant antenna to the radio as a 50 ohm load. And so what happens is the radio and all that think everything's great, and then after this balun, you're just losing everything, literally. And, you know, I mean, it's just stupid. Because they do work, hams think that they're amazing and great because they can go and they hook this thing up and they string a wire to a tree and use it and make contacts. And, you know, and then even dumber is they'll get on FT8 and do digital with it and think that it's amazing when digital really requires no kind of good antenna in the most part, because it's able to copy signals below the noise floor, you know, using software. But hams swear to God that they're great, and every idiot and his mama has a 7300 on an end-fed antenna, and they get on 80 meters, and they'll try and play with the big boys, and then they get upset because the guys don't want to talk to them because they're hard to hear. So, you know, I mean, if it's all you can run, that's one thing, you know, but if you can run whatever you want to run, get a dipole, get something, get a resonant antenna that's tuned. Don't sit here and waste all your power, you know. I mean, if your antenna's not resonant, you're wasting your power. So, I mean, there's always compromises, but anyway, that's why I use this, because this is going to tune itself. I don't need a tuner, okay? You just tune this thing, you're good to go. You're going to get as much power out as this thing will radiate. You know, your losses are going to be a lot minimal. It doesn't have gain, but, you know, it's going to work a lot better than, you know, hooking up a lossy antenna through 20, 30, or 50 feet of coax. And, you know, so for portable, you know, I mean, you need it, whatever works, you know. The other thing too is, you know, if you're gonna, you know, be doing things a lot, you could have a dipole for each band, and you could easily put a wire dipole in a case like this and just, you know, whip it out, throw it over one tree to another at a park, you know. But these things here, I don't know if it'll resonate anywhere. If it does, I mean, it'll work pretty good. But I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I should just give it away to a new ham. Except for where I live, all we have is old hams that don't get on the radio. So, anyway, so I would rant and ramble about some of the stuff that I found at Goodwill.